All right, YouTube, the Bernie Bro lexicon within the Democratic movement likes Elizabeth Warren. They think of her as a woman with principles, sort of progressive values, which means she wants to raise your taxes and pay for a bunch of retarded programs that won't work. But they like her anyway. I guess she's female, and therefore it's okay for her to be, fucktarded or something. Anyways, though, Elizabeth Warren has decided to completely abandon her principles. Now, someone who is actually an ideological progressive, who actually believes in the kind of reform that somebody like Sanders is talking about, could not possibly, in 1,000 fucking years, endorse somebody like Hillary Clinton. Because she is not a progressive. She's not even a liberal. Her idea, the thing that the Republicans erroneously equate with socialism in Hillary Clinton's platform is a 0.5% tax increase. That's as far left as she'll go. She's pro-war, and she's made it clear many times. She was against gay marriage until fairly recently. Hell, Obama outflanked her on that one, and he's no friend to the lesbian and bisexual and gay movement. Obama's more progressive than she is. I wasn't surprised when Obama endorsed her, but I was surprised to see Warren do so until I remembered, oh, that's right, she's the woman who lied about her ethnic makeup in order to avoid criticism from her political foes. Then I realized, oh, yeah, all bets are off. I guess she's just a fucking career politician like the others. Now there are people clamoring for a Hillary and Warren ticket as president and vice president. Yeah, what a great idea. What could possibly make this ticket better? We've got a female candidate who lies a lot and who's, she's known for compromising her own principles on a regular basis. I know, we'll get another female on here who lies a lot and compromises her principles conspicuously, and who will be absolutely hated after this endorsement by 99% of Sanders fans for interfering. Bernie Sanders' staff told Obama and others, just wait, let it play out, let us have a nice clean campaign, and don't endorse, don't interfere, don't do all this other bullshit. Obama ignored it apparently because he sees the writing on the wall. Now Elizabeth Warren is. She will end up paying for this in terms of her approval rate. Oh, she will, because a lot of the people who would vote for somebody like Elizabeth Warren are like Bernie bros. And they're not going to like her very much after this. They'll see her as a traitor to the movement. By the way, I can sympathize with you. She is. If she actually believes in progressivism, which is really regressivism, but whatever. If she actually believes in that, she couldn't back Hillary. Hillary voted for the Iraq War. Hillary was against gay marriage. Hillary's, she's just a jaded, centrist, globalist authoritarian, just like Obama, just like anybody else. Just like Boehner, just like Ted Cruz, just like Mitt Romney. They're all part of the same club. They all go out for drinks together. Can you spot the odd people out here in this election so far? Oh, Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders, one of which actually got the nomination. I suspect that a lot of these Sanders fans are going to vote for Trump out of malice to the DNC. And I wish you well in doing so. I won't be joining you. I'm voting for Johnson, assuming that this doesn't magically become a swing state. That's the exception, although I feel more positively about Trump now than I did before since his row with Paul Ryan. He's pissing off the right people to kind of endear me to his message, even if I think parts of it are bullcrap, like deporting 10 million people. Okay, that's not going to pose a logistic challenge. You're better off just building a wall, let's face it, but we won't get into that right now. Elizabeth Warren is just a chronic liar. She's a career politician. It's just like all these other phony baloney idiots up there in D.C. They put on appearances, but one thing has stood in their way. You see, in the past, it was easier to delude people because people got their news from the television, from a newspaper. They had to wait 24 hours, generally speaking, unless there was really important live breaking coverage. They had to wait, and the story was always going to be spun because every local paper or local station is an affiliate of some larger one. They all had an axe to grind, and so you could keep people ignorant, but that's not the way the world works anymore. The internet exists here now. One of the reasons why the Clintons were more scandal-plagued than past administrations wasn't because there were necessarily more scandals, although, let's face it, there were. But the second part was that Drudge was around, and Drudge has now become dominant in right-wing circles because they were the only ones not constantly trying to axe Trump in the back of the head. Now Trump has won, and he's absorbing the independent voters, and he's turning a lot of business Democrats into Republican voters too. by the hundreds of thousands, especially in the Rust Belt. Elizabeth Warren, thus, is going to pay specifically because people will see the corruption. Some private individual, no journalism degree, not involved with Fox or CNN or MSNBC, no major presence even online necessarily, can make one tweet. And that one tweet is perfectly worded, goes viral, and affects the entire national discourse. But now you're going to have 100,000 people tweeting out about how Elizabeth Warren's a traitor. So I think that's going to have a greater effect than the former. Yeah, we might as well put her on the VP ticket. They'll lose anyway. It's not going to work. Hillary Clinton, in the modern era of politics, U.S. style or world style in general, is like trying to put a square peg in a round hole. It's like trying to take something it's like trying to take a computer manufactured in the 1990s, which is what she is politically, and jerry-rig it to run modern programs. It's going to be very, very difficult for you to actually, you might as well just pull it all out and put in a new computer and just have a shell from the 90s. Windows 95, ooh, now with half a megabyte of fucking RAM or something. It's just not going to work. It's not going to work. She will not proceed to become the next U.S. president. You may not believe me now. You can look at the polls all day that I've been analyzing properly throughout the whole fucking election and say, oh, but Trump's behind, and there's no possible way he could possibly move the needle because everybody hates Trump. Johnson can't possibly get into the double digits. He'll collapse at some point. Hillary will take off the second the first debate comes by. No, she won't. Her goose is probably cooked as far as her campaign goes already. You just don't realize it. But you may come to realize it in time. By the way, did you see Salon attacking Scott Adams, who's been very clear that he's not even a Trump supporter at this point, and that he just finds his method of persuasion to be particularly interesting? Yeah, a little bit of a death knell there, a little bit of a tell for what's going on with groups on the far left, because they're beginning to melt down because they see people like Warren and Bernie Sanders falling in line behind a candidate they can't stand half the time. They're trying to settle for Hillary. It's not going to work too well. They tried that with Mondale. I keep talking about Mondale because basically he's the male counterpart to Hillary. Only I think Mondale's dead now. I don't think he's still alive. I think he kicked off in the 90s at some point. I may be totally wrong. I mean, he may just be like Jimmy Carter and he's immortal or something. Yeah, arguably, I'll tell you this. Here's another strange thing, but you can take it to the bank. The Democratic Party would have been better off trying to draft Jimmy Carter, who now I think is in his early 90s, to run for the U.S. presidency to fulfill a second term. They would have been better off doing that than allowing Hillary to run away with the show against a geriatric socialist. But they will see this in time. That's about all. Peace out.